at 6:03 p.m. I'm going to ask our city manager to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll ask our treasurer to do the invocation.
Great, if I can, sorry.
Go for it. All right. Could everyone please just bow their heads real quick? Please give us strength to find the best decisions possible for the city, and you guide us to help each other to reach great decisions. Thanks.
Amen.
If I can have everyone stand, please. Face the flag, right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, folks. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Montero, Councilmember Reyes-English, Councilmember Valentine,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Patterson,
Here.
and Mayor Vargas.
Here.
All are present except for Councilmember Montero and Councilmember Reyes-English.
Okay.
Hit their lights.
First presentation, West Basin, E.J. Caldwell, the state drought update.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is E.J. Caldwell, and I'm the Assistant General Manager at West Basin Municipal Water District. Let me first begin by telling you that I am here on behalf of our General Manager, Gregory Reed, as well as our Director and Board President, Don Deere. They asked me to say hello to you, and they apologize that they were not able to be here in person. The presentation that I'm about to provide, not just the City Council, but also your residents and commercial businesses, is to provide a brief overview of the current drought crisis that California finds itself in, but then also highlight West Basin's programs, opportunities that we think that your community can really take advantage of, not only to save money, but also save water. So I think most of you are generally aware of who West Basin is. We are a special district. We're created by a vote of the public in order to provide a safe and reliable supply of high quality water to the communities that we serve. It is in fact our 75th birthday this year. We were formed in 1947. And again, we think that this is an excellent opportunity to not just highlight the successes of West Basin, but the successes of our communities. We are governed by 5 elected board members, and you can see there on the far right, we do have our director, Don Deere, who currently serves as our board president. We also have the chairwoman of Metropolitan Water District, Director Gloria Gray, representing Division 2. Director Harold Williams also represents West Basin on the Metropolitan Water District Board. He represents Carson and the Palos Verdes Peninsula. And then, of course, Directors Desi Alvarez representing Division 3, and Director Scott Houston representing Division 4.
Don Deere is our representative, right?
That is correct. So you can see the entire service area here of the West Basin service area, and one thing that I like to always point out is just the vastness of our service area, representing 17 municipalities and unincorporated portions. We have Malibu all the way down to the Palos Verdes Peninsula. It really is a challenge, I think, for water professionals to provide not just programs, but services to each of our communities and really hit home the services that each community requires. So I want to highlight also that West Basin is one of 26 member agencies of Metropolitan Water District, and of course that's how we get our imported water supplies in to our local communities. And this, of course, was why we were created, but really to augment those supplies and really reduce our demand and need for those imported water supplies. So you see it in the news every single day, and we get asked this question a lot, and it's kind of, how bad is it? California is in its 3rd consecutive year of drought. According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, nearly 98% of California is in severe drought. And this has continued, and really as we enter into our October, which is the new water year, we hope to get that precipitation in November, December, and January. But for those of you who are skiers in this community and you had the opportunity to get up into the mountains and experience that snow in December, we had a great deal of snowfall last year. But then we had 3 consecutive months of really no precipitation in the state of California, causing this drought crisis that we're in. You can see here the severe and the extreme drought portions of California, including portions of the Central Valley that are in exceptional drought. And this is historic. We've been reliant on Colorado River water supplies for decades. You can see that there in 2021, we actually entered into a water shortage level 1 on the Colorado River. We are now entering into a levels 2A, and you'll see some significant impacts on some of the lower Colorado River states, including Nevada and Arizona. And really, it's going to be on California to work with them to make sure that we maximize our opportunity to not only save Colorado River water, but of course reduce our demands in Southern California as well. So the state of California has actually taken specific actions, and I wanted to highlight that here for you today. We get a lot of questions about this in our communities, and there are statewide prohibitions on wasteful water uses. And the idea here is to make sure that we're utilizing water for what we need, but of course avoiding it when we don't need to. And you can see that 2 things that I wanted to highlight. There is a prohibition on the use of potable water for street cleaning and construction site preparation. Filling fountains, unless they're recycling the water throughout them, should not be utilizing water. Outdoor watering within 48 hours after it rains. We had a pretty decent storm several weeks ago, and it's important to remind yourself of that. And then I wanted to highlight this because this is something that we know will make a significant impact. And there is a prohibition on the watering of ornamental turf on public medians. So you should not be utilizing potable water on those medians or what we call ornamental turf. Anything that you wouldn't be playing on or having a picnic on or kind of utilizing should actually not be watered at this time. We do know that in the city of Hawthorne, you do have 2 retailers that are providing water service to your community. Through that state action, no resident or commercial business should actually be watering their outdoor landscape more than 2 days per week. So it's important to contact your retailer to find out how those 2 days are divvied up, but you should not be watering more than 2 days per week. So that's a bit of the doom and gloom, but I really want to come to each of our communities and highlight the success stories that I think are worth telling. And when I see this graph, I know bar graphs and charts and such sometimes create that dizziness in your head. But I wanted to point this out because if you look at our water demand in 1990 and you see what we've been able to accomplish into 2022, you can see there's a significant decline in water demand. And that's through the actions of our communities, including the city of Hawthorne. This right here is specific to the city of Hawthorne, highlighting the decrease in drastic reduction in water demand. You can see that not only is our imported water supply demand going down, but you're also seeing that increase in the use of recycled water. And if we get that done in every community, we're really not going to have problems in the future. Your community is not just ahead of schedule, but doing an excellent job. So everybody that participates with West Basin Municipal Water District, and I do know, obviously, Councilwoman Valentine has been extremely active over the years. We are known for water recycling, and the Edward C. Little Water Recycling Facility in El Segundo is that facility that provides recycled water into the communities of Hawthorne and the surrounding communities. We do about 30 to 40 million gallons per day. We produce 5 different types of designer waters. We're the only recycling agency that does that. And of course, most of the students in the West Basin service area have a chance to visit that facility. We do about 13,000 visitors every year to come in and not just see, but learn. See exactly what the water industry is all about and find that there's opportunities for everyone to work within the water industry. The benefits of recycled water are clear. It's a local, reliable, drought-resilient supply. It actually helps to maintain a clean and healthy ocean atmosphere. It conserves drinking water for other usage. It's less energy than it takes to pump that water over the Tehachapi Mountains and get down here to Southern California. And of course, we all want to do the right thing, and those investments in recycled water have really made a big difference in allowing our communities to stay green during these drought periods. So West Basin does have a program. It's called our Super Califrugalistic, and this is something that we're excited to bring to all of our communities, because what we're really asking our communities to do is make conservation a California way of life. We want to change and revision how we utilize water in the future. And again, your community is already doing such a great job, but every home and every business has an opportunity to do more. These are just some of the accomplishments that we've had over the years. Our rain barrel program, we've actually just held one at the city of Lawndale over this past weekend. We've given more than 12,000 rain barrels away for free. For those in your community that may want a free rain barrel, you can actually go to our website, www.westbasin.org, and you can register. We have 3 more events moving forward this year, and so we'll be giving away about 900 more rain barrels, so you can always get one of those. We continue to offer as much as $3 in some communities and $4 in others to provide incentive to remove your grass. So native landscaping is always the best option, but you can actually get paid to remove that grass, so saving money and actually saving water. We do have water saving kits for those of you who utilize the services of Southern California Gas Company. We have an excellent program there, and all of your restaurants have an opportunity to save money and utilize those rebate programs through our commercial Cash for Kitchens program. This is that program that I just mentioned, to remove your grass. We ask all of our communities to do this, and of course our municipalities can really lead the way and lead by example by removing non-functional turf. These are the rain barrel events that I mentioned. Obviously October 8th was Lawndale, but we have one in Redondo on October 29th, one on November 5th in the city of Inglewood, and then one in El Segundo on November 19th. And any member of our service area can attend those things. It's not specific to those cities. Just sign up, register. Really quickly, we have a lot of classes to offer. These are the main resources for information that you can find. And last but not least, October 22nd is a free event at the El Segundo Edward C. Little Water Recycling Facility. We would invite all of the members of your community to come out, enjoy a fun, free day for their family, and learn about water. And that concludes.
Thank you so much for your presentation, sir. Any questions from council? No, we're good?
Thank you so much for your presentation. So I was impressed by what you said about there's a significant decline in water demand since 2000, and that we were right in the forefront of it. What would you say is the reason for that? Why are Californians reducing their usage of water?
I think it's a mixture of a couple of different things. You're seeing state and local policies really drive that. West Basin's Urban Water Management Plan and Water Shortage Contingency Plan, we're asking our communities to reduce by 30%. And when you reduce during a drought, you'll see a bounce back once it starts to rain and there's a little bit more water, but you never see it go back to what it was. So we're making difference. People are starting to really educate themselves on things that they can do. And don't forget, the technology is getting better. Years ago, we used to give away free toilets because we wanted everybody to use those low flush toilets. Well, now that you can't buy any of those large kind of water wasting things. Technology like your dishwasher and your clothing washers, all these things are improving and drastically reducing the amount of water that you use inside your home. So it just takes a little bit of investment, but it also just takes a little bit of awareness.
My other question is, what is the status of that pipeline that was supposed to come from Northern California? Is it in the works? Is it going to happen anytime soon, or what?
Well, I think the best way to address that is to say that not only is this a project that's going to benefit the entire state, but it's a project that I think most people want to see done the correct way. So that would be a pipeline or a water conveyance system from Northern California through the Bay Delta and down here into Southern California. It would be managed by the state water contractors. As part of that Delta conveyance, really it's about providing water when there's water available. But what's really impressive is that we're preparing to manage our water supply without that supply. So that project is moving forward. They just completed the environmental impact report, and I know that they've extended a comment period, so they're going to be looking at all those comments. They're still looking at pursuing that project, but what's really needs to happen and what is happening is that Southern California needs to make sure that we're using water as efficiently as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for being here.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
My Civic 311 application, Mr. City Manager.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Temp, Councilwoman. Some time ago, Council directed staff to look into conducting business at City Hall much easier. And we took on the task by giving the duty of that directive to Public Works. And at this time, we're going to have DJ Torado come up and explain a great app that we have at the city to streamline work as we move forward into the new technology era. DJ?
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is DJ Torado. I'm the assistant engineer for the Public Works Department, Engineering Division. And today I'd like to talk to you about My Hawthorne 311, which is a service request app that residents can use from the city of Hawthorne. There are two ways to submit requests. One is through your phone by downloading this app. So if you guys have your phones out, you guys can follow along. If you have an Android device, all you have to do is go to the Google Play Store. But in this case, I have an iPhone, so I'm going to go to the App Store. And I'm going to type in My Civic 311. Right there. And it's the first app that you see. It has the M and then the 311 underneath. So you can download that for free. And then when you open it, when you first open the app, you'll actually, it'll ask you what city you live in. So when you search for a city, you can search for Hawthorne. And the drop-down will show My Hawthorne 311, and you can tap on that. And it'll take you to this. So just a brief overview of the app. On the bottom, you can see the City of Hawthorne website. That'll take you directly to the Hawthorne website. City Council shows our lovely City Council members over here. The city calendar shows all of the city events that's happening around the city. And then, the main one is report an issue. So as you can see, there's a list of issues that residents can report on. So illegal construction, illegal dumping, any parking issues, potholes. Some of these issues the city doesn't necessarily handle. So for example, coyote sightings, you'll get this pop-up that says if you see a coyote is attacking you or being aggressive, to please call 911, or for more information, there's websites there. But for this example, I'll be doing illegal dumping. And the pop-up that shows up shows that this is not for bulky items. If you have any bulky items that you would like to be taken, please contact Republic Services. But in this case, I will be doing illegal dumping. So there's you can do your request either anonymously or you can submit your information. If you'd like to submit your information, you can make an account. But in this case, I will skip that for now. So there's some questions that the app will ask you. The more information, the better the city can respond to your request. So in this case, it's asking for the closest intersection or cross streets of where you see illegal dumping. So for example, I'm just going to put El Segundo and Hawthorne. And then what items or materials were dumped, I'm just going to say a couch. And then any optional questions. So if you know when the illegal item was dumped, if you know around what time it was dumped, and if you know if you saw the person who was dumping it, these are all optional questions. And then if you click next, it'll ask you for the exact location. So two ways you can do that is by typing in the address at the top, or if you have your location on, you can actually pinch and zoom. Sorry. pinch. Pinch and zoom to the exact location. So you can say it was around here. Click next. If there's any additional notes and any additional information that you want to provide, you can type it in here. So you can say it's a black couch. You can also add pictures. So you can add pictures from your phone, or you can take one directly. So if I took a picture, like so, and I use this photo, it'll attach images, and then you can either submit with your information or submit anonymously. And this will go directly to city staff. Oh. Oh. Well, at this time, it's not submitting, but it would normally go to city staff. We would get an email directly with all the information that you provided us. If you do provide your information, if we have any additional questions, we would be able to either email or call you. But if you don't want to provide any of your information, you can submit anonymously. So the other method is actually through your browser. So if you go to the City of Hawthorne website, below the video, there's this virtual city hall. And then if you have any questions about My Hawthorne 311, there's this tab right here that answers frequently asked questions right here. But going back, you would click on Hawthorne Citizen Self-Service. And then you can click here that says My Hawthorne 311. Again, you don't need to log in or register. You can do this anonymously. And similar to the phone app, you would make your request through the browser. So illegal dumping. I'll just type in City Hall for example.
And DJ, at this time, you can field questions from the council members regarding this virtual city hall.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is great. Don't have
Yes.
any questions. Definitely would love to explore.
Yes. Thank you very much. Have you gotten any feedback from the citizens about their use of it and what they felt about it?
In terms of response, a lot of people do like that it's a lot easier than just calling. They can just download it on their phone. If they're actually at the location, they would just take a picture and send it immediately. We actually have a flyer that we made. These are actually being shown right now on the billboards on Crenshaw Boulevard and on Hawthorne Boulevard as well. And we're actually getting printed flyers as well so we can hand out to our residents so that more residents can know about this service and can use it and make the city a better place.
So this is so there is a way to take a picture of something you observe and attach it to the
Yep.
app.
Yeah. On the last page before you submit, there's an option to take a picture or use a picture that's already on your phone.
Very nice. Very, very good. Thank you.
I really want to comment on this. I'm really excited about it. I remember the idea of us having an app isn't a new idea. I think our previous mayor had suggested it and had created an app that wasn't used at all, and nothing happened with that. And I know a lot of people had brought this up to me throughout the community. This was one of the things that I tried to champion when I was running for office, that we should, have these type of resources. So I'm super excited to see it come to fruition. I want to thank all of the staff, city manager, for kind of pushing that forward and making that happen. I think it's just this is exactly what I envisioned, I had hoped would happen if we did develop an app where people can just, take a picture of a graffiti or a pothole, upload it to the app, and let the city hall know what's going on and report whatever they need to report without having to sit on hold forever, or not without having to know which number to call at city hall. I just have a couple requests. I had brought this up at the last council meeting, actually. Is it possible to add my email address on my profile on this app?
Yes. It's completely customizable. Whatever information you would like us to include, please let us know, and we will add it.
So I see just a link to the website from my profile and to call. And if you can add my email address, that'd be great.
Okay.
And I don't know if this exists currently, but is it like a faster kind of a shortcut that can be on somewhere on the home page to get to that service request page? 'Cause it is a number of steps that somebody would have to kind of find. If somebody says, hey, I want to report something, if there's somewhere even at the bottom saying, hey, report something or service request, and that home page that goes directly to, said page.
Yeah, we can put a link that'll just direct you. When you click on it, it'll directly lead you to the form. So we can do that.
Yeah, because I'm sure, people are coming to find out who they complain to about a lot of stuff. So just give my opportunity just to go straight to it. I have a question, though. If somebody is submitting these requests, are they routed to individual department heads, depending upon what they're about?
Depending on the issue, it's staff gets an email directly saying, hey, there's a request for like an illegal dumping, for example. That would go to a specific staff member. Or if it's like a pothole, that would go to probably a different staff member. So it does go directly to specific staff members.
Spectacular. Yeah, I think it's great.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, DJ.
Oral communication, sir.
Okay, pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.3, all remarks shall be addressed to the City Council as a body and not to any individual council member. During oral communications, speakers shall have 3 minutes to state their business. The Brown Act prohibits the City Council from providing a detailed response or acting upon any items not contained on the agenda. The governing bodies as a body shall have the discretion at the close of oral communications to refer any remarks to the city manager for study, investigation, report, and/or recommendation.
Mr. Myers? William Myers?
Okay. I was not expecting to be first. I'll take it. Let's see, Mr. Mayor and council members, I'm William Myers. I'm the acting chair of the Ramona Neighborhood Association, and I have an announcement. To avoid any scheduling conflict or confusion with other civic organizations, I'm announcing that the Ramona Association is having an in-person forum for council candidates on this day next week, October 18th, from 7 to 8:30 at the Ramona School at 136th Street. Details will be provided to the candidates shortly. RNA members and residents of the Ramona tract will be notified by Nextdoor app. Since there is a limited amount of time and space at the school, and there are 8 candidates, only 4 candidates can be accommodated on this occasion. Any remaining candidates will be accommodated at a second meeting on Thursday, October 27th at the same location and times if necessary. Thank you.
Okay. Patricia Donaldson?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Patricia Donaldson, Presidency of the Hawthorne Chamber of Commerce. We're having our Halloween mixer on October 28th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Hawthorne Chamber of Commerce, and there'll be a couple of people that will be hosting the event. There will be food, $100 for the scariest costume, and $50 for the most original. Okay, so now second, I got a complaint from a chamber member today. His name is Juan. He's the owner of MBZ at 13736 Hawthorne Boulevard. 2 things. Number one, he said that he got fined for, in the back of his business, there's an alley, and people dump stuff. So they blamed him for it, and they gave him a ticket for it. That's number one that he said. And he said it's just not fair. And I will tell you, at the chamber office, in the back, people dump stuff back there all the time. So it's not really fair for him to get a ticket. I told him I would make mention of it in City Council tonight. And also, he has a tree that is blocking his sign, and he's asked the city several times to cut the tree. He says they cut every tree on Hawthorne Boulevard but that one tree. So I told him that I would also mention that. And then the third thing, okay, so those two things were chamber things. Now, this other thing is with me. My daughter and my grandson received a letter in the mail from someone on the dais. I'm not going to mention names. And the thing is, this person that's running has a background, a criminal background, and I can't understand why this person on the dais would endorse this other person who has domestic violence, fraud, altered checks, and other things. And I just thought I just don't get it. And I'm not sure that this person has looked at the sheet that's been given out, because we got the sheet of his background. I don't get it, and I don't understand how anyone else can endorse this person. This is just beyond me. But that's my personal, nothing to do with the chamber. Thank you.
Okay, Joseph Gumlick.
Good evening. In my previous public comments, I provided small but concrete calls to action for the council here, namely modifying the municipal code that this council oversees. Tonight, I'm going to ask a little bit of a larger ask. And so as I make my way to and from these city council meetings, I ride my bicycle in the Hawthorne Boulevard bicycle lanes. I appreciate these bicycle lanes, and I commend the city for installing them. I also look forward to the eventual improvements should any of the three options in the 2016 Downtown Hawthorne Specific Plan be implemented. I do think those could mitigate several shortcomings of these lanes, but tonight I am asking for a meaningful improvement to one specific intersection, and I would hope that these improvements can be done, now, rather than waiting on any large project getting started. So I am asking the city to please look into improving the intersection at El Segundo Boulevard. This is just around the corner from City Hall, and I'm referring to the southbound bicycle lane, which just vanishes for several hundred feet before the intersection and does not resume until several hundred feet after the intersection. Across this distance, a bicycle user is essentially stuck in limbo between two high-speed traffic lanes of Hawthorne Boulevard. It's a confusing section to navigate, and confusion means less predictability, which raises the stress of all road users involved. Whether you're on a bicycle or in a car dealing with a cyclist that you don't know what maneuver they're about to do to cross this intersection. I'm going to guess that there were hard constraints on this layout when they were put in roughly 7 years ago. So I'm not going to ask for any large road reconfigurations here tonight, but just something a little more humble. Please at least put dashed lane segments crossing the intersection to indicate that although there is no protected, dedicated lane in this conflict zone, there is still an implied trajectory for cyclists to take. This will make the intersection clearer. It'll improve the predictability. More people will know exactly where cyclists are supposed to be while navigating this 600-foot stretch. And it will make a stressful segment a fair bit better. And at the very, very least, if that request is a bit too much for the council to explore, can you at least copy what was done at the intersection of 120th, just a few blocks north? This one at least has some markings on the southbound side of the intersection where the lane doesn't exist to at least suggest something of where the city expects a person to be. As further motivation, I will mention that this intersection practically bisects the southbound bicycle lane into two disjointed lanes, and disjointed lanes are far less useful than a cohesive one. And also, this intersection is specifically one of the only intersections between the north-south bicycle lanes and the east-west bicycle route, which happens to be on El Segundo Boulevard. The fact that this intersection is one of the worst to navigate on a bicycle when it's so crucial to the existing bicycle network is just a real missed opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, Mr. City Manager, can you have staff look at that so we can have some continuity? Thanks. Sue Messenger.
Okay.
noches. Mi nombre es Sujei. Como muchos latinos que han venido a esta ciudad, yo inmigré de Puerto Rico hace 16 años. Soy una samaritana del pueblo de San Lorenzo, Puerto Rico, y obtuve mi bachillerato en la Universidad de Puerto Rico en Calley, y también tengo una maestría en terapia matrimonial y familiar. ¿Okay? Hoy me les presento para informarles sobre los polutos que hay en nuestra ciudad y mi preocupación sobre nuestra salud y la educación de nuestros hijos. ¿Okay? Nuestro alcalde tiene una maestría en física, yo sé que se supone que él sepa quién Masaru Emoto es. ¿Okay? Él fue un científico muy famoso en todo el mundo que estudió cómo nuestras palabras, nuestras imágenes y nuestras frecuencias y vibraciones afectan a la molécula del agua. ¿Okay? Aquí tengo fotos. Básicamente él puso agua y la frizó y le puso una imagen o una palabra o le habló. Y básicamente estas son las moléculas de habla. Aquí dice verdad, aquí dice gracias, te amo, eterno, ¿verdad? Y les quiero informar que los aviones nos están impactando, ¿verdad?, nuestra salud, porque causa vibraciones fuertes, ¿verdad?, que impactan, y básicamente son frecuencias caóticas, no son naturales, ¿ok? No son cosas que Dios ha creado, ¿ok? So aquí le quiero demostrar, aquí dice you fool, ¿verdad? Tonto. Con esa palabra, mira cómo se ve esa molécula de agua. Es la misma, pero mira cómo se expresa. ¿Ok? Y yo estoy muy preocupada por los niños que están en la escuela de Zella Davis, porque más del 38.6 yo creo que es la ración de niños que están faltando a la escuela, en comparación al 1.1 en la escuela de Mark Twain. ¿Ok? Que básicamente, por más cerca que usted esté al aeropuerto, más impactados están nuestros estudiantes. No están aprendiendo y están enfermos y están faltando a la escuela. ¿Okay? Y yo tengo todos los datos y la próxima semana después de esa vendré con más información. Le quiero decir que el tráfico de los aviones va a incrementar por 300%. ¿Okay? Y aquí están los datos y todo esto está disponible en el internet. ¿Okay? Y si van a www.change.org, Noise Pollution Kills, ahí tengo toda la información. ¿Okay? También les quiero decir que nuestros riñones son 83% agua y los aviones le pasan por encima a todas las personas diabéticas que están recibiendo diálisis. En Davita, diálisis ahí mismo, ¿verdad? Que está cerca de
Perdón, señora, los 3 minutos ya pasaron.
No he terminado, perdón. Nosotros somos agua, ¿verdad? Si seguimos con los aviones encima que están violando la ley y están volando a menos de 1000 pies de altura, nos vamos a enfermar. Y les voy a decir algo. Cuando ustedes van al doctor, los doctores, la mayoría de los especialistas, están en Torrance. ¿Y por qué? ¿Tú sabes por qué? Porque esa gente está enferma, ¿verdad? Cuando hay una necesidad, ahí la gente va y tiene un negocio.
Permiso, señora, pero
les voy a decir,
el público recibe
el
3
aeropuerto
minutos,
de Torrance,
señora.
¿verdad? Está al lado del hospital, ¿verdad? Torrance Memorial. ¿Cómo van a poner un hospital, gente enferma, al lado de un aeropuerto, sabiendo que le hace daño, sabiendo que los enferma? No. Aquí dice noisevan.com que nosotros se supone que estemos expuestos al sonido del aeropuerto 1 minuto al día. 1 minuto. 1 minuto. Imagínate esos niños en Zella Davis, ¿ok? No, suéltame. No seas un bacalao salado. No seas un bacalao salado como todos estos aquí. Arréstame, no me importa. No me importa. No me importa. Arréstame. Arréstame, porque lo estoy haciendo por nuestros hijos, lo estoy haciendo por nuestros negocios, lo estoy haciendo por todos los latinos que se van a mudar aquí en unos años, porque van a construir unos edificios beneficios nuevos para personas de bajo ingreso. Y ayer lo dijeron en la
I
reunión.
don't want to have to hurt you.
¿Ah?
Come on.
No me importa, porque tú sabes que yo tengo fuego en la olla y ya yo tengo dolor. Ya yo tengo dolor. Ah, a causa de la impuesto.
Anyone else wishing to speak to the council from the line? I have one person. Mr. Raddick, come on up. I think we're good with that.
My name's James Raddick, as you know, 3822 West 144 Street. I'm here to say I'm voting no on Measure I. I wanted the charter city, but with the cost of paying the council $75,000 each a year is too much. It's going to bankrupt our city because it's not just this council, it goes on forever. It also goes into their retirement system, which when they leave here, they could freeze, and if they're working for other PERS or other cities, it's all going to give them we're paying it forever, and that's a big cost. And the only thing I hear is, let's use our surplus. Well, it's easy to use a surplus when you don't have employees. When I called this morning for Public Works, the phone just rang until I got the answering machine. I don't have a smartphone like everybody. I don't like those things. I don't use them. And where are you going to get the money? You're going to raise the sales tax, the utility users tax? What other fees would you put on us? And how do you pay for all these people coming in the past? Does the next group of people have to do a thing to remove that from the pay, cut the pay of the new council? So how do we work that out? I'm voting no. I'm asking everybody to vote no on Prop I, on Measure I, because we can't afford it. There's too many greedy people on the council. Thank you. Good night.
Anybody else? Okay. I see no one else, so oral communication is close to ordered. You can't step away or else we're gonna lose a quorum. We'll have to stop the meeting. Is it an emergency? Can you hold whatever you're gonna say? Okay. All right. Real quick, I'd like to bring up the city treasurer's report. Is there any opposition to that? If not, go ahead, sir. Item 6, sir. Next, we have general matters. Mr. Clerk, please read item 6 into the record, sir.
PARS 115 Trust Investment Policy. Recommended motion, staff recommends that the City Council, 1, approve PARS 115 Trust Investment Policy, 2, approve initial investment of $3.5 million, and 3, adopt PARS Trust Withdrawal Policy Guidelines.
Okay.
I'd like to call, we're doing the presentation now, right?
Yep.
All right. I'd like to call guys up. All right. I just want to introduce everyone. We've been working with them on creating the PARS Trust for the city. And the idea behind this plan is basically to give ourselves some more investment opportunities by placing the funds in this trust, which will allow us to grow it and give us access to other investments that we're currently not allowed to. We're very, very much so focused on just fixed income. And this trust is going to basically allow us to invest some money, have it grow, and then also offset health benefits, which usually almost always and probably will keep going up. And I just wanted to and also on top of that too, by actually putting our money in this fund, we get a discount on our liabilities for our financials. So I think it's a very great thing for the city. It's a great long-term investment and a great plan. And it also offers, a lot of flexibility, if we do change investments and things like that. But I'll let you guys take it from here.
Great. Thank you very much. And good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Glad to be with you. My name is Rachel Sanders, and I am a consultant with PARS. And joining me tonight is Ann Wimmer, who is a portfolio manager with Highmark Capital Management. So we've been asked to do a brief presentation sharing with you a quick refresher on the 115 Trust, which was adopted earlier this year, and then I'll turn it over to Ann to walk through the recommended investment selection. So without further ado, let me just give a brief overview of the 3 different partners involved in the 115 Trust team. So at the top there, you'll see PARS. We are the trust administrator and ongoing consultant. So we've worked with staff to get this trust established, get all of the necessary legal documents in place, and ultimately we will be the city's main point of contact for anything related to the ongoing administration of the trust. A couple roles that we don't serve include number 1, actually holding the money in the trust. That responsibility falls to our trustee, U.S. Bank. And then last but certainly not least, Ann and the Highmark Capital Management team serve as the investment managers on these funds. And ultimately, as Ann will share, they have provided 5 different options to the city for how to invest these funds. And Ann and I met with staff earlier to talk through which investment may make the best sense for the city's objectives for this plan. So as again, a brief reminder for what this trust is, ultimately, you would be moving monies out of your general fund and into an IRS-approved Section 115 trust that is dedicated for OPEB, or retiree medical expenses. So once the money is moved from your general fund into that trust, the trust is irrevocable, meaning that those funds can only be taken out for those retiree medical expenses in the future. But as Greg mentioned, you also do have the ability to then invest those funds differently than you could in your general fund. So you really get the benefit of being able to diversify those investments and helping them grow over time while also having a positive impact on your future OPEB actuarial valuations. Speaking of which, those latest results are on the next slide that you'll see in front of you. So as a reminder, this was a valuation done in 2021. You can see that the total OPEB liability was just shy of about $140 million, and the city had not set aside any money to date for these liabilities. In talking with the finance director, I know that there's a new valuation coming out. The good news is that total OPEB liability has gone down to about $121 million, so it's a little bit lower, which is good news to report, but certainly still a large liability that the city is addressing. And so once you start setting monies aside, again, it will be dedicated to addressing that OPEB liability. And again, the goal is to help make those future valuations look a little better, as well as your financials. So with that background, let me turn it over to Ann, and she will walk you through the investment selections.
Sure, good afternoon. This is one slide that we shared when we had the previous conversation with staff. We do have a variety of different investment strategies that the city may use. You can see, starting at the bottom, conservative, and then up to capital appreciation. And as many of you know, equities in a portfolio, the amount of equities in the portfolio, will determine the risk of the portfolio, and also contribute over time historically to higher returns than what typically what you would have in your general fund, for example. You can see we have trouble reading this. Got to pull out the, pardon me. Okay. So the city has determined that the balanced objective is appropriate for these assets. And if you take a look, the balanced objective has equities between 50 to 70% of the portfolio, and fixed income or bonds between 30 to 50% of the portfolio. As an old rule of thumb is the 60-40 split, 60% stock, 40% bonds is an appropriate mix for long-term assets. And certainly these assets, these are for current retirees and current employees and future employees as well in their retiree benefits. So we're talking a very long time horizon. So a balanced objective is certainly appropriate for that. Let's see, am I doing the next one? The next slide, we talked about a mix between stocks, bonds, and cash, but wanted to share with you, we do slice and dice it even further. We diversify each portfolio. So we want to have exposure to different asset classes. We want exposure to large companies, mid-sized companies, small, a little international, a little bit in real estate, and on the fixed income side, intermediate term bonds with the intermediate term maturities, short term, maybe a little bit of high yield. So we do diversify, and we make changes from time to time, but we stay within the guidelines. Each objective has a different guideline, or has different ranges, rather. On this slide here, this shows you historical performance, this is as of fiscal year on June 2022, for the different investment objectives. The first column lists on the left, lists the different investment objectives, and then shows you the range of equities. And as if you've been watching anything going on with the stock market, you know we've had a rough time, certainly in the last year. And in the last year, I think each one of these had some negative returns. However, the 3 years, 5 years, 10-year returns, these are average annual returns. So you can see the balanced objective highlighted in that maroon color. Over the last 10 years, the average annual return has been 6.9%. Certainly higher than what you would have gotten sitting in the general fund. And I think that's it. We're happy to take questions.
I have a few questions.
Of course.
I'm curious to understand more about, I guess, about the 115 trust. Somebody said it was recently passed by the state of California.
Oh, I'm sorry. So what I meant to say is that the city council actually adopted the establishment of the program earlier this year. So I met with you all virtually. I know there weren't in-person meetings at that time, but the council decided to move forward with the establishment of the 115 trust. So the account, is set up and ready to go effectively, but there hadn't been additional steps taken to actually recommend the investments and the contribution to the trust, and that's the purpose of tonight.
Could you remind me why the 115 trust can invest in asset classes that are different than what the general code, the California code says?
Of course, yes. So the California government code for your general fund is really restricted in terms of how you can invest. You can't invest in any equities. You have to retain very conservative investments. Once you move assets out of your general fund and into a 115 trust, there's actually a different California government code that applies, 53216, and that effectively allows you to invest in portfolios that do have equity exposure so long as they are diversified and invested in a prudent manner. And so, working on the parameters of that code, diversification and prudent investment, that's where Highmark ultimately developed these various strategies that are applicable for the 115 trust. So all of our 115 trust members, therefore, are allowed to invest in these types of portfolios.
And 115 trust is only to be established to offset OPEB liabilities?
Good question. So originally, yes. More recently, 115 trusts do also allow the ability to pre-fund pension liabilities, so your CalPERS liabilities. Currently, the city only is using it for the intended purpose of OPEB, but in theory, down the road, you could also use it for pension if that ever became a desire.
Remind us what OPEB stands for?
I'm sorry, other post-employment benefits. So that's going to be your retiree medical liabilities.
I understand we have a unfunded liability of, what was it, 120 million?
Yeah, right in that range. So as of the last valuation date, which was 2021, we were looking at just shy of about 140 million. But I was informed that on your next valuation, you're looking at a liability right around 122 million. So it has gone down a bit since the last report.
And do we have an annual liability? Because I'm sure there are some payments that happen currently, right?
Yes. So the service cost is right around 3.5 million, and your pay-go cost, which is basically the amount that you've been paying out of your general fund to pay those retiree medical benefits, is right around 3.2 million. So that's the annual cost that you've been paying from the general fund for these liabilities.
And so the idea is to set aside some money that's going to grow to offset our annual cost out of our pocket?
So yeah, so effectively the reason why cities set up these OPEB trusts, there's a number of reasons. Number one, once you move money into this 115 trust, it lowers your net OPEB liability, which is reflected on your balance sheet. So assets in the trust lower that number right away. It also has an impact on what's called the discount rate, which is really tied to the expected rate of return over time. So you'll see on the slide I have up right now, the discount rate is right around 2%, because that's sort of the actuary is saying long term, if you keep those monies in your general fund, they're expecting a rate of return maybe close to 2% over the long run. Typically follows the 20-year municipal bond rate. Now, when you move monies into the trust, because you can invest in a portfolio like Ann shared, where you have a 60-40 balance, now the discount rate might be something higher, like 6%, because that return expectation went up with the ability to invest in equities. So there's this nice balance where when you have a higher discount rate, you also see lower liability. So it's the combination of moving assets into the trust, plus being able to invest them, that really reflect a nice number on these future reports.
Now, how does that help us out in any other way by having a lower OPEB liability?
How does it help you out to have a
Lower OPEB liability.
Yeah, so ultimately, it's something where it's a line item on your balance sheet, and so it shows, that you're being financially prudent. Certainly by setting money aside, it can positively affect your credit rating. And by having these monies in an irrevocable trust, you're really planning ahead for those future retiree medical costs, because certainly the ability to get the benefit of the compounding interest over time and it's basically a savings account for your future retiree medical liabilities versus having those monies sit in the general fund. Even if they were earmarked, you don't give yourself the opportunity to help grow those assets with those investment returns. So it's really good future planning that the city is taking to help get these liabilities under control.
You're saying they can also have a positive impact on our credit rating, which could impact our ability to borrow money for any other purposes.
Yes, we have talked to agencies that have indeed had that as another positive side effect. Yep.
And is there any kind of mechanism that prevents us from accessing it in a short period of time? Because as you stated, for a long-term time horizon, a balanced portfolio is appropriate, which, I would agree. But is there anything that would prevent, us from grabbing? Because, as the councilwoman talks about, we're facing a recession, and it's likely that we may have some negative returns, especially, with so much equity exposure over the next, who knows, amount of time, next 2 months or whatever, 2 years. Is there anything that would restrict us from accessing it early?
Great question. So ultimately, as Ann said, the investment selection that was chosen is really intended for a longer term period of time. However, the 115 trust is set up such that the city can request reimbursement so long as they are for those retiree medical expenses. So in theory, if you had $3.2 million in the trust and that's what your annual OPEB or retiree medical costs were, you could take out that full amount to reimburse your general fund at any point in time. So again, if it's the annual cost, you simply send a request into PARS and you can take the money out. I know the intention is certainly to leave it in there as long as possible to get the most out of this program, but there's no restrictions on when you can take that out.
Got it. It'd be up for the council or staff to make that decision as to when the prudent time is to access it.
Right.
Got it. That's all my questions. Thank you.
Have some questions?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation. I have some questions concerning, my question would be about our liability. So I noticed that the plan sponsor is responsible for confirming the accuracy of this investment guidelines document in writing. And we are, as the city of Hawthorne, the plan sponsor. The responsibility of the investment manager is to assist the plan sponsor with the development and maintenance of the investment policy. Am I right so far? Okay.
Yes.
So we are, as the plan sponsor, actually responsible for confirming the accuracy of the investment guidelines document. So we're not experts in finance, but we are liable for this, for any consequences. Am I correct? If liability ensues for some unknown reason at this time, it is our liability. Am I correct?
In the investment guideline document that you have there, that spells out the ranges of the balanced objective. So we provide that as a draft for your review to make sure everything looks okay. If at any time the city wishes to make changes to the investment objective, they can do so. That it just spells out, these are the guidelines that I, as the investment manager, I will stay within those guidelines. I don't know about legal liability, other than, for you to, each party is to review the investment guideline document, make sure that it says what we intend for it to say.
Well, I would want to know if we have any legal liability, and if so, what it might be.
All right, well, we can look into that.
Would you please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are you requesting a motion, Mr. City Treasurer, on approval?
Yeah, I just want to say, I think this would be really good for the city. And I know it's stock market, and I know it's down, but this is actually maybe one of the better times to kind of go for it versus doing this last year would have been, a worse time. But again, it's long time horizon. It's really going to help the city in the long haul. And again, you can take the money out. There's always going to be medical expense, going forward. I really think this is a great investment for the city. And again, just to get some diversity, which is important, we have so much, fixed income that, this does give us that option. And as far as the city's complete, portfolio, the amount of stock is still very small, just in this trust. So I really think it's a great step forward in long-term planning for the city. And I hope the city, approves it.
I'll make a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, please vote. Okay,
The vote reflects mayor and council members voting yes.
thank you so much, ladies.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mayor?
We'll take a 2-minute break.
okay, we're in recess for 2 minutes. He would have told us something. Okay. City Clerk's consent calendar, go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I have 3 items on the consent calendar. They're items 3 through 5 for your consideration and approval. Item 3, approval of waiver of full readings for resolutions and/or ordinances on tonight's agenda. Item 4, approval of the city council minutes for the special meeting of September 13th, 2022, and regular meeting of September 13th, 2022. And item 5, city treasurer's request approval of the warrants for October 11th, 2022. May I have a motion to approve these items 3 through 5?
I'll move to approve.
Second?
Please vote.
The vote reflects mayor and city council voting yes. That concludes my consent calendar, Mr. Mayor.
I'm going to skip over to city manager's consent calendar.
Mr. Mayor, we have a small presentation under general matters. Do you
Yeah, I'd
want
like
to move forward?
I'd like to skip over to city. We'll go
Okay.
back to it.
Perfect, thank you.
City manager's consent calendar, just to see. Sir?
Okay. Item 8, the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, has issued fair share housing choice vouchers to the Hawthorne Housing Agency. Item 9, tree trimming project, city project number 22-07, reject and out to bid. Item 10, approval of agreement and purchase order to ACCO Engineered Systems in the not-to-exceed amount of $74,044 for the installation of the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems at the City Hall basement. Item 11, progress payment number 1 in the amount of $670,892.19 due to Martinez Landscape Company, Inc. of Sylmar, California for general maintenance project number 22-05. Mr. Mayor, that concludes the city manager's consent calendar. May I have a motion to approve items 8 through 11?
Move to approve.
Second.
Oops.
Please vote.
The vote reflects mayor and council members voting yes.
City attorney's consent calendar.
Item 12, deny claim for damages of Eva Emma Zlot, I'll just spell it out, SZALONTAL. Mr. Mayor, that concludes the city attorney's consent calendar. May I have a motion to approve items 12?
Move to approve.
Second. Please vote.
The vote reflects mayor and council members voting yes.
Okay, we return to general matters. Mr. Clerk, item 7.
Okay. Item 7, American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA Business Assistant Program. Recommended motion, staff recommends that the City Council ask questions as necessary and provide direction on the American Rescue Plan Act Business Assistant Program update.
Finance Director Feliz Lopez, your brief presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to bring you an update on our ARPA program. We do have Mr. Ken Duran from HDL here to give the presentation. I just wanted to let you know that city staff meets on this item weekly. There's a committee that meets with HDL, and that's city manager, recreation staff, housing, and finance staff. We take status updates for each of the different programs, and we also work on giving each other the different assignments to complete for the following week. And Ken will give you an update on what we've been able to do on a couple of the programs.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. It's my pleasure to be back before you. We provided several updates in the past regarding the various business assistance program. Tonight, we'd like to focus on one of them just to give you an update on the gift card program that we've been working with your city staff on. And I will make this fairly brief, but just to give you a background, one of the programs that you have identified using ARPA funds is for a community gift card program. Your program budget is $25,000, and the program includes the ability for residents to purchase gift cards and also for the city to use ARPA funds to match the amount of that gift card for $25 for the residents. So the benefit is that the residents get a free gift card that's being paid for by the city, and the merchants that are signed up to participate in the program benefit because the gift cards can only be redeemed at the businesses in Hawthorne that are signed up for the program. So one of the key components of this program is to solicit businesses to sign up to be a participant in the program. There is no cost for the business to be a member of the program. It utilizes their MasterCard transaction process, so the only fee that they pay is what they would normally pay for a MasterCard transaction, and it's very simple and easy for businesses to sign up to be part of the program. So over the last several months, HDL and your city staff have been out into the community trying to get businesses to sign up to be participants in the program. We started back in mid-June, and we contacted over 720 businesses to explain the program, and we've had information on your website, on your electronic bulletin boards. We had some literature available throughout your centennial celebration, and we've been reminding businesses over this past several months about how they can sign up to be a participant in the program. Unfortunately, in the beginning, we only had 4 businesses that signed up to be a member of the program. So we actually did some additional outreach. We had some of our staff go out and actually contacted door-to-door a number of businesses in the community, and we had some additional outreach through your cable television program. We also are offered gift cards to businesses if they actually wanted to sign up, just as an incentive. And unfortunately, those efforts did not really result in additional businesses signing up. Currently we have, it says in the slide 5, but we have 6 businesses that have signed up for the program. So for the business program to be successful, to entice residents to buy a gift card, there has to be a number of businesses that they would be able to participate in to make it enticing for them. And so our experience and the experience of the gift card company indicates that about 20 or 25 businesses initially should be signed up to be part of the program so that residents can have the choice of how they can spend these gift cards. So we're trying to come up with additional ways to entice businesses to participate in the program. So one of the ideas that we've come up with is we realize that the council members, you have individual relationships with businesses in the community and contacts, and we're asking the council if you would like to assist by actually making contact with some of your business associates in the community and reach out to them, encourage them to be participants in the program, and then refer those contacts over to the HDL, our company, and we can do the follow-up to sign up these businesses. Unfortunately, if we can't get that core of 20 or 25 businesses to sign up for the program probably will not succeed. So this is kind of a last-ditch effort, if you will, to try and ask the council if you would assist us in utilizing your contacts in the community to sign up for the program. It's a very valuable program. It's been very successful in other communities that we've participated in. So we think that can be successful here. We just need to motivate the businesses to actually want to be participants. So that's really what the update is for tonight. There are a couple of other programs that we're still working on, but we wanted to make sure that this program get launched first before we run into or to launch some of the other business assistance programs. So we'll bring some other additional information back to you on those programs, hopefully once we get this program launched. So that's really our presentation tonight. We'd just be happy to answer any questions you might have about where we are with the gift card program.
I have some questions.
Go ahead.
So tell us about your outreach efforts. What were you actually doing to try and get the businesses?
As I said, we used your business license list of all the businesses in your community. We vetted that list. We sent out emails to over 720 businesses that were on that list. And like I said, we also have information on your website. We've used your electronic bulletin boards to promote the program. Then we did this door-to-door. We had somebody go door-to-door to some of the targeted businesses, mostly restaurants, your small boutique, mom and pop stores, to try and explain the program to them, help them sign up for the program. So we've done quite a bit of outreach over the last couple of months.
How many businesses did you contact door to door?
83 businesses that we contacted. We targeted some specifically, ones that most were likely, ones on Hawthorne Boulevard and a couple of the other small shopping centers. Then we actually went back, identified about another dozen businesses that we really wanted to target, and made contact with those specifically, and did not receive any, positive response from those contacts.
So when you went door to door, what did they tell you?
They were either too busy, they took the information, said, we'll look at it, we'll get back to you, but we weren't able to really get anybody to actually engage in us when we actually went on door to door. I think, small businesses are very busy, and so it is an effort to do this kind of outreach. And so,
did you tell them why you were there and what benefit it could be to their business if they
Yeah, we actually had
participated?
literature that we had, we handed out to them, explained that we were representing the city of Hawthorne on this gift card program, explained how the program worked, how easy it was for them to sign up. Oftentimes they would take the information and say, okay, we'll look at it and we'll get back to you.
And who were the people that were going door to door?
It was one of our staff members from HDL companies.
I'll be open to volunteering my time to help secure some businesses to participate. Absolutely.
I'm very open to doing that as well.
I'd like to see the list that you guys contacted so that I don't repeat double the efforts.
Okay, we can do that.
I'd
So
like
we'll
to see that first.
That'd be great.
Yeah, we'll provide you the list of the 6 businesses that have already signed up for the program, those that we already made contact with.
Yeah.
And then we'll provide that with staff. They can provide that to you. And then we'll kind of set up a protocol for how you can go out and give you some
Talking
quick
points.
tips of talking points exactly.
And a flyer, maybe. Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, but it makes sense. I've seen the cards. Are they gift cards where somebody pays like a certain amount
Yeah,
and then
so-
they can use them?
Yeah, so
Or
actually,
is it
it's-
a discount cards?
no, it's a digital gift card. So if the resident buys a $25 gift card, then they get a matching $25 gift card that the city is paying for. So they get $50 by buying one $25
Yeah, and then
card.
you could use it at one of those businesses. So
And
it's
you could
like-
use it, so it's really a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. It's like, I don't know. Then we got some of these 2 restaurants.
We have these restaurants that talk about having.
They talk so they always come up
Problems
to
getting
whoa,
business.
whoa, 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 and then when it comes to this stuff, they're, whatever. All right, let's move
maybe-
on to the next subject.
Maybe they didn't trust y'all.
Okay,
No.
thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you letting us know
Oh, no problem.
so we can see.
Yeah, I love to help.
Right. They have so many suggestions for us when we sit down and talk to these guys, and then all of a sudden they don't want to.
Maybe we can engage the Chamber of Commerce to help.
Yeah. Item 13, timing of the introduction and adoption of the cannabis. Do we have a Chamber of Commerce? Oh, okay. Okay, item 13, timing of the introduction and adoption of the cannabis ordinance. Okay, so we just need to kind of just establish something. When is the suggested next meeting? What is the most earliest opportunity that you would have the ordinance ready so that we could look at that and then see what we do from that point?
So if I may, Mr. Mayor, first of all, I want to let the public know that we had originally published in the newspaper a public hearing for today for introduction of the ordinance on the cannabis, commercial cannabis program for the city.
Okay.
Because of the work that's involved and that we couldn't finish for introduction, and I'll explain why, that we're not having the public hearing today. In fact, I noticed another public hearing for introduction of the cannabis ordinance for the next meeting, which is October 25th. And I'll explain, the reason being is that the city's consultant, we had originally asked them to adopt the cannabis ordinance modeled on the West Hollywood model, the West Hollywood ordinance. Upon reviewing some of the provisions in the West Hollywood ordinance, for myself as a city attorney, I want to protect the city from potential challenges from those that will be due to the limitation of number of the licenses that we expect the council to authorize. We want to minimize any potential legal challenges because someone did not actually end up getting the license, because these application fees are rather expensive. As the council is aware, the consultants were very expensive, and that these applications are non-refundable. So because of that, we want to be very cautious, take a very cautious approach. And secondly, we want to give the city council enough time to digest the ordinance. It's quite extensive. There's two parts to this ordinance. One will go through zone text amendment that requires it to go through the planning commission. And the licensing part is what will come directly to city council. And we want to give you enough time to digest it, because you can review the draft ordinance. We'll give you at least a week before the 25th, but you can't discuss it due to the Brown Act until the public hearing, which is on the 25th. Now, the reason why I brought this up as a discussion action is to calendar what we're facing here, and I want the council's directions to, if we introduce it, there are hurdles in that we have a certain number of days left of this year to introduce and adopt the ordinance. If we were to introduce the ordinance on the 25th of October, we could bring it back for adoption for the first meeting of November, which I think is the 13th, if I'm not mistaken.
8th.
Is it 8th? Okay. Okay, so the 8th will be date for adoption. Now, the cannabis ordinance is quite extensive, and I expect the council members to not all agree, for instance, the type of license, the number of licenses, and things of that nature. So at a public hearing, if we have, based on our draft ordinance, if we have a very clear changes that the council agrees to make, then we can bring it back for adoption on the following council meeting, which will be November 8th, for adoption. However, if the council are in disagreement with respect to various aspects of this ordinance and are not clear, then we would have to come back on the 8th as a reintroduction of the ordinance based on what the council is directing the city attorney to do with this ordinance. So we want to kind of get an adoption. The option is, should we try to, and I think we could get a draft ordinance to be introduced for public hearing by October 25th. We're very close, okay? But do we want to try to push it through and take the risk of, if we have to reintroduce it on November 8th, then, we have always taken November 22nd off as a council meeting. So if we want to try to push it through before end of this year, our only chance is to possibly have a council meeting on the 22nd if it has to be reintroduced on the 8th. Or if we're come to a quick and clear agreement, then we can have it introduced on the 25th and adopt on the 8th. Now, any significant changes has to result in a reintroduction and another regular meeting for adoption. We're kind of limited in December's out. So another option is for council to consider introduction and adoption of the commercial cannabis ordinance next year, starting January. So these are thoughts that, you know, I know that each of you may have different ideas about how you want to proceed with the introduction and adoption of the ordinance, and that's the reason why we put it in
Okay.
discussion action for
So,
clarification.
so one thing that I'm noticing, those are really not options because, come back, bring this to us on October the 25th. But we can't speak for our other two colleagues that might have not just radically different ideas than what you have in the draft. So it all depends what happens on that day. And we haven't seen your final draft that you're going to present to us of this ordinance. So to push it through, I think you and the consultants are doing a great job on making sure you guys dot the I's, cross the T's. So I think it's, and for the benefit of those who are going to apply, you know that it's very well laid out and clear. I think we should just see it on the 25th and see what course of action our colleagues end up determining.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, let everybody review it and have whatever opinion that they have. Everybody may agree on the 25th. Nobody may agree on the 25th. Like, we don't know until we start discussing it.
Yeah.
So I would like to have the first reading on the 25th and see what the council decides to do from there.
And a really quick go back.
Might have 15 meetings of changes, but whatever it is what it is.
And we're moving forward. You guys are every day. You guys are talking on the draft, so nobody's sitting still, not doing anything on your end with the consultants. So you guys are moving along with this thing. So it's the natural course. So we're just progressing every day. We're doing something to, you know, see this through.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. October 25th.
So we'll bring it back for introduction on the 25th, and we will send out a draft ordinance to each council members about a week before the 25th, but cannot be discussed under the Brown Act. It can only be discussed during the public hearing.
Understood. Through the chair. And I also would like to make sure we keep on the table of having a council meeting on the 22nd. You know, we have business to do, to take care of. Let's, you know, take care of it.
And I think that would be wise, just in case we can't come to an
What day is that?
agreement on the 25th and has to be reintroduced, so,
Is it Tuesday?
It's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
yes.
Thanksgiving's on Thursday. It's Tuesday. I think we can handle that.
I'd be willing to consider that. Let's just see what the other council members say, and we'll just come once they're here.
Yeah.
We'll see. I wouldn't want to just have like three of us up here. Definitely a joint decision. Everybody needs to participate.
Yes.
Good point.
Some of them might have plans to go somewhere or something. So you
Good
never
point.
know.
So staff's been directed.
Thank you. Appreciate your help. Thank you to the consultants as well. Okay, where are we at? Do we have a closed session?
We have one closed session.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on elected officials reports.
Oh, sorry.
You asked where we're at. Just trying to help you out.
Okay, Mr. City Clerk, go ahead, sir.
All right, this will be quick. I received my ballot last week and actually received my sample ballot today. So if you haven't received it, you should be receiving it soon. And for any reason, if you need to check to see if why you didn't receive it, you just would go to lavote.gov and you could check on that. Another thing is if you're not registered to vote, you have until October 24th to vote via online or by mail. And then just another thing, just want to thank all the volunteers who came out last Saturday. We provided food for over 300 families. So I just want to thank the people who volunteered, but then also the people who picked up the produce. And then, we'll be out there October 22nd from at 9 a.m. until supplies last. And that is all on my end. Thank you and have a good night. Thank you for being here.
Great distribution. I mean, thank you so much, Mr. City Clerk, for what you do and the student volunteers that you have. And of course, we thank the people, the organizations that donate the food. Okay, it comes from somewhere, so we thank them too. Can you please relay our thanks to both of those groups?
Definitely. And yeah, we have on average about 30 different individuals from the local high schools that help out and some non-profit organizations. Just on their own time they come out, and we've been doing it for about a year and a half. They've never asked for anything, just really good people that want to help out the community.
If you would like, maybe in one of these council meetings, you can ask them to come so we can recognize them.
Yeah, that'd be great.
You know, the organizations too, a representative, and the students who can show up.
That's definitely, we'll look into that.
That'd be a good
Thank
idea.
you.
Great. Okay, Councilwoman Valentine?
Thank you, Mayor. So first of all, I want to talk about beautification. I presented a plan for beautification to the Parks, Recreation, and Fine Arts Commission for beautifying the landscapes of single-family homes by incentivizing the homeowners to plant colorful and attractive plants in their front yards, preferably desert and ocean-friendly plants. The plan was accepted by the Commission as a pilot program and will be presented by the Commission to the City Council in early 2023. If it is approved by the Council, the application period will begin in March. The hope is that if the pilot program is successful, the program will be expanded to the rest of the city. This plan was conceived by the late Peter Wang, who was Director of Building and Safety and a lover of the environment, and is dedicated to him. So I hope this is something that the City Council will approve when it comes before them. New Star Family Justice Center. Last Friday, Elena Maloney, Executive Director of the New Star Family Justice Center, held a program right here at City Hall in recognition of October being Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We learned of the many programs offered by the center for victims of domestic and elder abuse, including assisting them with counseling, information about their rights through the justice system, and offering information about shelters where necessary. Our own Hawthorne Police Department was given accolades for their assistance with the domestic violence cases that have been heard at the New Star Family Justice Center. Senator Stephen Bradford and Supervisor Holly Mitchell were among the guests and were very much in admiration of all the programs available through the New Star Family Justice Center right here in Hawthorne. So again, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and everyone should pay attention to that and be aware of the need for being alert, and also the rights that people have to be free from domestic violence. Grant from community programs. So yesterday, the city was presented with a $5 million grant for community programs and a $500,000 grant to improve the senior center. Once again, thank you, Assemblymember Tina McKinner, for making Hawthorne a priority as you begin your tenure in the State Assembly. This brought to mind a program where we could use some of that community service money. It is called On the Move Riders Program and is sponsored by LA Metro. I learned about it at a steering committee meeting of the South Bay Council of Governments. It is directed at seniors and takes them on trips using various transit lines to make them familiar with the train and bus system. It is a great opportunity to give seniors the opportunity to travel throughout the county. I am giving staff a directive to investigate this program and coordinate with LA Metro to bring it to our seniors on a citywide basis. Also, to advertise it as widely as possible so that the entire city is aware of it. The contact is Mark Arroyo, telephone number 213-922-1344, email arroyom@metro.net. Once again, I would like to thank E.J. Caldwell, Assistant General Manager of West Basin Municipal Water District, for bringing us the program on the State Drought Update. And I would like to encourage everyone to attend the water harvest on Saturday, October 22nd, 2022. I'm holding up the flyer. It is always a wonderful educational experience, as well as a lot of fun with tours, prizes, and games. And it is right here nearby at the Edward C. Lytle Water Recycling Facility at 1935 Hughes Way in El Segundo. That's the water harvest. They're celebrating their 75th year. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember and Mayor Pro Tem David Patterson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank the community for coming out, make your voices heard. Always appreciate that. And I'm always open for having individual conversations and debates about anything that you want to talk about as far as the city and what's going on. I want to thank staff for all your hard work. guys are always working, always doing your thing. Definitely appreciate it, right? You know, I know we're leading to election season and Christmas and holidays, and you guys are still, you know, taking care of business. I appreciate it. Want to also encourage people to vote, right? This is such an important thing. You want to make sure that all of these politicians, right, including me, right, that we understand that you are making your voice heard through your vote, so that people are making it a priority to campaign to you. Like, just so you guys know, like, this is real expensive for these guys to campaign, and they pull a report and say who votes, and that's who they send their mail to. And so I want to encourage everybody to make sure that you do vote, so you get mail, you get communicated to, and people, you know, ask you what's important to you and cater to your needs. Super important. I had a couple residents reach out to me about a few things, Mr. City Manager. Just be real brief. Told there's some long wires hanging from electrical poles on 14023 Doty Avenue. And I think the resident there needs some assistance in getting that addressed. What else? I had some other notes. We had a community cleanup over the weekend. I apologize, I wasn't able to attend, but this is our second year doing it. I remember I thought it was a good idea during the pandemic, coming out of the pandemic, to do something like that, because there was a lot of complaints about things not being pretty, right, during the pandemic, and this is our second year doing it, and it looks like it was an enormous success, even more successful this year than last year. It looks like we had a lot of students, a lot of volunteers, a lot of people from the community that came out and helped to beautify the city. I wanted to let everybody know I appreciate you guys. I'm sorry I wasn't able to participate. I was out of town, but I appreciate everybody for participating and you know, investing in your community to make it beautiful. That's all. Oh, and yeah, vote. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So I also want to thank Assemblymember Tina McKinner for the grant, the state funds that she was able to request from our state government, from our governor. So we really thank her. And as I was saying, we had a special meeting to receive the money yesterday here about 4 o'clock. For us, it's a great thing. I mean, it's not, in my tenure here as a city council member or mayor, I have never, ever seen a supervisor, an assembly member, or a state senator do what happened yesterday, especially within the first 30, well, actually it's been like 2 months since she's been there or something, maybe 3 months. But within 2 weeks of her getting elected, I received a call from her telling us that, hey, I'm going to get you guys some money. I know you guys are going to use it. You guys use it the best compared to all the cities around you. And lo and behold, she was able to get us $5 million and an additional $500,000 for the senior center, $5 million for the infrastructure there at the Memorial Center. So let's give her a round of applause and thank her, because I've never seen anything like that. We really, really, really appreciate it. And I can just tell you, man, this is going to be a good relationship that the city of Hawthorne is going to have with the State Assembly through Assemblymember Tina McKinnon. Never have I seen anything like that. You guys remember, what's his name? I don't even, Mark Ridley Thomas never came. State Senator comes, but he forgets to tell us about some of the bills that he passes that are kind of, we're a little critical of, but he'll be here soon, so we'll get to talk to him. Maybe we can ask him some tough questions there. And that's what he's here for. That's what they come to us for. Okay, so they can get our feedback, so that's a good thing. So we had a cleanup day, community cleanup day that happened this past weekend. Really great event. There were about what? How many students were there? How many volunteers, adult volunteers were there, Vaughn, in total?
Over 140.
Over 140 volunteers. Yeah, so right when we, let's put it this way, this event was so well organized that everybody had their vests. We just, I made like a little speech, and then, you know, everybody was right there in front of the podium. I went to the restroom real quick. Went to the restroom, did whatever, but super quick, literally super quick. And by the time I came back, everybody was gone. Everybody had jumped into their cars. Everybody had gone to where they were supposed to go. It was such a well-organized event. And, you know, I went out there to pick up around Ramona Park, and went with some of the students from Hawthorne Math and Science Academy, and they were just really happy that they were participating. So we want to thank them very much. And our vendors that contributed the trucks, Republic Services, Martinez Landscape, they donated the dump trucks, the equipment, the bags, and the gloves, and the rakes, and everything. So it was a great event. So thank you to all those groups that participated and the volunteers. The 311 app that we have, I think that's a great thing. And not to take away from what any of our council members have said, but I think all council members here at some point, you know, maybe I was the first one here, and then Council Member Valentine, and then Mayor Pro. It doesn't matter. We've all known that we've needed an easy way to communicate with the community. And over the years, we've seen some iterations of an app, but not well put together. That's the truth, right?
Yep.
Not well put together. Oh, can you go look at this? Okay, it's going to cost this much. It's going to, oh, blah, blah, blah. It's going to cost this much. But now we have a system that we can tap into that's already pre-built, an app that we download that it's ready. It's like a prepackaged setup. Prepackaged setup. You don't have to do programming. You don't have to do anything special. Prepackaged setup where you just basically go on the back end and enter who the email is going to, the information is going to be sent. It's already set up to take pictures. It's already set up to do this. It's already set up to take council members like pictures there and the social media links and emails and text. Everything's set up for you that you could just. It's easy. Whoever set that up is probably going to make a lot of money. You know, is it costing us a lot?
It was budgeted for.
But it's not even it's budgeted for, but doesn't cost that much.
As the system's active, no, it doesn't cost us
As a
anything.
systems app, it doesn't cost much. Imagine if we would have had to program that, if we would have to have somebody privately program and connect us to the internet and create an app for us, ready-made. So I thought, thanks to all my colleagues who pressed and our city manager for, wait a minute. Why are you guys looking at me? Okay. So thank you.
Your 5 minutes.
But 311 app, I got it on my phone. And a piece of constructive feedback to our friends in the Ramona neighborhood, having two separate debates where you're going to have 4 candidates in one meeting, 4 candidates at another, there's no side-to-side comparison for that. And then depends who you reach first. So what, the 4 candidates that made it to the first one, is there going to be judgment passed on them for being the first 4 and not being the first, the other ones for not being the first 4? So the side-by-side comparison, I think, is very important to see how everybody answers the question in one sitting. Okay, and then plus the attendance at the first one probably be more than the second one. So I just ask that you guys reconsider it. If you guys are already set, that's fine, but I think we'll see how it turns out for you. Just feedback, I just have to be honest. That's what I was thinking about. Somehow maybe you can accommodate them all. Maybe on the... Talk to you later. You're not mad at me, right? You're not gonna...
Let's talk afterwards.
Okay. Huh? Yeah. Okay, I got you. If there's the time thing, okay. But thank you so much, everybody. Yeah.
You got a thing to talk to. I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
Closed session.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, guys, so we have a closed session to see what the official verbiage is here. Go ahead, Mr. City Clerk.
Item 14, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9. Name of case, Javier Urias, etc., et al. Versus City of Hawthorne, etc., al. LASC, case number 20, STCV 16065.
Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak on this item? If not, if there's no objections, oral communications is closed, so ordered. I'll talk to you a little bit later because coming out of here, I have to head somewhere. But
I'll wait for you.
one thing that I just wanted to mention before we recess is that we have the President's Council 40th Annual Community Dinner on Thursday, October 20th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And this is fundraising for the Holiday Assistance Program. I'm relaying this on behalf of Councilmember colleague Alex Montero, who asked me to tell you guys. So it's going to be fun. It's a spaghetti dinner, and it's going to be on Thursday, October 20th, okay? So I guess we will now recess the city council meeting to conduct a closed session for conference pursuant to the agenda at 7:49.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We met in closed session, and the city council members, Councilmember Valentine, Mayor Pro Tem Patterson, and Mr. Mayor Vargas have all voted to agree to a settlement in the amount of $200,000 for the city's share, that's half of the settlement, on the matter of Javier Urias. And it was voted by unanimously.
Is there anything further from council members or staff? If not, this meeting is adjourned at 7:55.